What's up, traders? So today we're going to be talking about 3 different ETFs that you should buy and or sell puts on and then hold forever. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Rashad. I am a full-time options trader and I bring in enough from the stock market in order to pay for my entire lifestyle and amazing vacations. And so I am currently here in Ghana, Accra, Ghana to be exact. It was just my wife and I's anniversary, and my wife has a birthday coming up on Saturday. And then on top of that, while I'm here, I'm handling some business. But every single trip that I take and everything that I do is always paid for by the stock market. All right, the stock market is my primary source of income. And so I love being able to travel around the world and using any environment as my office. And today's office just happens to be my hotel room. So if you look here in the background, the hotel was nice enough to surprise us with balloons and all that type of stuff for our anniversary. And those 3 standing balloons there are the ones that I've just been too lazy to pull down as of yet. So they'll stay there for a little minute. But Ghana has absolutely been good to us. I definitely encourage anybody who has not been here to go ahead and give it a try. But today I want to talk about 3 different ETFs that will essentially pay you forever. And all 3 of them have a very high dividend that pays out monthly. And so let's go ahead and get into it. But of course, before we get into the actual strategies, I have to share a word from God that has to do with money, building wealth, or business. And today's verse comes from Proverbs 13:11, and it says, "Dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow." All right, and that's pretty self-explanatory. If you just stay consistent, if you just work on getting to first base, then second, then third, then eventually you're going to get your home runs. However, if you're batting for home runs to begin with, if you're trying to hit the lottery, the chances are you will lose money just as quickly as you gained it. So just build wealth little by little and it will all work out in the end. And speaking of people who are absolutely building wealth, I have to shout out some members of the Trader Freedom community. Chandra says, closed 6 hood leaps for 40%, which was $7,000 in profit today. Great way to start the week. Big payday. Chandra, congrats to you. Then we have Jonathan, who made his very first trade just recently, and he says the first of many successful trades to come. So congrats to you, Jonathan. Layla says, I had a good day today. A good portion of the gain today was a 0 DTE credit spread. Thank you, Rashad. Shout out to you on those gains, Layla. Ramon says, best trading day so far, nearly $9,300 in profits. UNH delivered big time. We stuck to Rashad's guidance, closed out today, and the results speaks for themselves. Goodness, $9,300 in a single day, man. Shout out to you, Big Money Ramon. That's what I call him in the community. That's our little insider, Big Money Ramon. And then the last one I'll share today, because we have way too many and I would need an entire video dedicated to everybody's wins who is constantly winning in the community. But Chandra says, Rashad, followed you on a hood trade yesterday, already up $1,000 in profit. You are the best. Thank you. Wow, that's amazing, because this trade that we put on was towards the end of the day yesterday, and I'm recording this video in the morning. So, I mean, we may have been in this trade for maybe 2 hours of actual trading time at max, and they are already up $1,000. So that is clearly amazing. If you would like to join a cool community and print money from the stock market with us, come join Trader Freedom. The link is below in the description. Not only will you get to see my exact trades, but you'll get my full options framework via the Trader Freedom course. You'll get access to ask me questions at any given time. And lastly, you'll be within the community of clearly other traders who are all winning big and who all have the exact same goal as you. So if that's something that interests you, the link is below in the description. But now let's go ahead and get into the strategies. And the first stock that I'm going to talk about today is SPYI. And this is a NEOS fund that follows the S&P 500. However, the I in this stands for income. And the reason they're able to pay you out a monthly income is because the fund managers of this ETF sell covered calls on the shares that they own. And so that does 2 things. One, it creates a ton of premium for them so they can dish out that premium to you in the form of dividends. However, it also limits the upside gains on the stocks that they have. And so because of that, this is not a volatile ETF at all. In fact, if we look over here, we can see during all the tariff drama earlier in the year, it bottomed at about $41, $42. And now with the S&P 500 at all-time highs, it only went up $10 to now currently $52. All right, and if we obviously cut out the whole tariff drama downward move and then the upward move right after, you can see it pretty much has stayed in a range of between $50 to $52 over the last year if we take out this little period here. All right, so it does not move very much. However, if we look down here, we can see that it pays out nearly 12% in an annual dividend, but the dividend is monthly. And so this is an amazing way to get access to our amazing companies within the US, all within an entire basket, and allow for capital appreciation over long periods of time. However, to also get a guaranteed monthly dividend payment. All right, and I absolutely love the NEOS fund, and this fund is growing steadily. We can see it currently has a little over $4.6 billion in assets. And while it does have a management fee of 0.68%, that is totally doable because it dwindles compared to the annual dividend of 11.79 currently. And so once we take out that management fee, it's about 11.10% that you would gain for the entire year. And so I think that this is an ETF that you can absolutely buy and hold at any time, because even in a down market, we will still get paid monthly while we just wait around for the stock to recover. All right. But of course, me as an option seller, not only do I like buying the stock, but I love to use put selling as a strategy to purchase shares of the stock at possibly a cheaper price. And so let's go ahead into the Moomoo platform and look at a potential trade. But first, I have to give a huge shout out to the sponsors of this video, Moomoo. Now, beyond just being an amazing brokerage and one that has tools way better than most brokerages that I know, right now they have one of the most amazing sign-up offers as well. When you open up an account using the link below in the description, not only can you get up to $1,000 of NVIDIA stock, but you can also get up to an 8.1% APY on your idle funds. And that is just crazy. But what was just added, they added in an additional $100 cash reward. When you open up an account using my link below in the description, you will not find this anywhere else. So make sure that you take advantage of this. But on top of all of that, their mobile platform is next level. Taking a look at their mobile app, so you can see here, you can see a lot of general information such as earnings and earnings calendars and earnings beats and economic calendars. However, what I like most is this investment theme. So if we click on investment themes, here they categorize stocks based on what they're impacted by. And so what I like most is this one that's called Nancy Pelosi Portfolio. Now, if you're not familiar, Nancy Pelosi is a US Congresswoman, and she seems to always select the right stocks right at the right time. And so Moomoo conveniently put all the stocks that she is currently investing in right here on this list for you to see. And so if you just wanted to follow what Nancy Pelosi is doing, you could follow this investment theme in Moomoo. But go ahead, check it out. The link is below in the description. You can get up to 60 free stocks, and you can only get that with this link. So go ahead and click it, and you could thank me later. All right, so here we are in the Moomoo platform, and I already opened up SpyEye's options chain. And so what I like to do is I'll go out to about 45 days. And so we can see the closest to that would be this date that is currently 37 days out from now. And so I'll go ahead and click that. And for this, you'll pretty much need to go pretty close to the money. All right, so we'll probably be able to do either this $51 or $52 strike. However, I am fine with purchasing the shares at the price it is currently. So why not go ahead and go right at the money? So the price is currently $52.01. And so I'm going to go ahead and sell to open this $52 strike, which will pay me anywhere between $60 and $70 per contract. All right, so I'll go ahead and click this bid price, and we can see I'll get about $65 for opening up this trade right here, right now. Now, of course, we are selling puts, so we are agreeing to buy the shares at the strike price that we selected. So if I selected the $52 strike, then I'm agreeing to buy at least 100 shares per contract at that strike price of 52. Now, the great thing with selling puts is once you are assigned, so let's say that SPYI stock price is below $52 by our expiration date, well, our actual cost basis will be the strike price minus the premium that we receive. And so in this case, if I am receiving 65 cents, that means that my actual cost basis will be about $51.35. And so theoretically, once I have the shares, if the stock price is above $51.35, I'm already up on that position. All right, which is obviously a good thing. But in this case, with this strategy, we really just want to buy and hold, very similar to like rental real estate. All right. And we know that over long periods of time, typically rental real estate will have a capital appreciation. However, you also get paid monthly rent from the tenants that you have. And so in this case, our tenant is also SPYI because they are paying us a monthly dividend. All right. So that is SpyEye. But now let's take a look at the second ETF. All right. The second ETF is ticker symbol QQQI. Now, this is also an ETF from the same fund, the NEOS fund. However, this one follows the NASDAQ 100. And so it has all the big name technology companies like NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Tesla, et cetera, et cetera. But again, this ETF also pays us a monthly dividend. All right, and we can see that the monthly dividend is currently 13.7% with just a 0.68 management fee. And so collectively, it's about 13.10, 13.12% annual that we'll receive from owning these shares. And it also, again, pays out monthly. And we can see that the assets under management are about 3.4 billion for this. So it is steadily growing as well. And the same thing here, you can see from the chart, it pretty much trades within a range of about $50 to $55 for most of the year, other than the tariff drama that brought it down to about $41 before it ended up recovering. Okay, but clearly $50 to $55 is its normal range. And so let's go ahead back into the Moomoo platform and look at a potential trade. All right, so here we are. I have the options chain pulled up for QQQI, and I have the exact same expiration that we used for the last trade. And we'll follow the exact same process, and we'll come back down here to around the at the money price. All right, the current price is $53.66. So I'll come on down here to $53, and the bid and ask price is between 55 to 75. And so I'll probably get around 65 for selling this put right here, right now. But I'll go ahead and click it, and that $65 looks good to me. Now, if we look at the P&L curve, of course, it's just like selling puts on anything else. Here's the current stock price. And if the stock price stays the same, we keep the money we were paid and we go about our day. If it goes up, we keep the money we were paid and we go about our day. If the price goes down some, we keep the money we were paid and go about our day. However, if it drops down below $53, which in this case is exactly what I would want, then I would be forced to buy the shares at that $53 strike. However, my cost basis would be what we can see down here at $52.35. All right, so that sounds good to me. And that will allow us to get access to our largest tech companies, all while receiving a monthly dividend. And if we come to this holdings tab within Moomoo, we can see some of the largest holdings, which is NVIDIA at 9%, Microsoft at 8%, Apple at nearly 8% again, Broadcom at nearly 6%, Amazon at 5%, Meta at 3%, Google at 3%, Netflix at 3%, Google again at 3%, and then Tesla at nearly 3%. All right, so those top 10 companies make up a huge part of what you are buying. However, it is 100 companies total. As if we scroll down here, you can see the rest of them, but most of these are amazing companies that you would love to get access to. All right, but that leads us to our last one, which is ticker symbol BTCI, which is also an ETF that is within the NEOS fund. However, this one is focused on Bitcoin. Now, this one pays a crazy dividend. If we come down here and we look, it's a 26% dividend that this ETF pays out. And it is also a monthly payer. And the management fee is about 0.98%. And so that brings the dividend down to about 25% even, which is still a crazy amount. And if we come over here, assets under management is about 464 million, which this ETF is clearly a newer ETF that they just started offering not too long ago. And it looks like this one started about October of 2024. And so not even a full year old. Now, this one is obviously a much more volatile ETF because it follows Bitcoin. And so I would make this a much smaller percentage of my dividend paying ETFs. And so I would probably go about 45% SPY-I, 45% QQQI, and then about 10% BTCI. And so if we come up here to the chart, we can see it normally trades anywhere between about $60 to $70. Now, again, we had this tariff drama period here. However, outside of that, other than when it first launched over here, we can see 60 has been roughly its low. It did recently come down to about $57-ish. All right, but that is the range. And so let's go ahead and head on over to Moomoo and look at our trades. Now, here we are at the option chain again. And because BTCI is a little bit more volatile than the other ones, then we technically could come down a little lower if we wanted to. However, of course, if you are fine with getting the shares of the stock right here, right now, then you can feel free to go right at the money as well. But let's do this $59 strike. And we can see it pays anywhere between $160 to $270 per contract right here, right now for a $59 strike. And so that is a pretty huge return on investment for selling puts on a dividend ETF. So let's go ahead and click that. And we can see at the mid price, I received $215 for selling this put right here, right now. And again, that is an amazing return for trading a dividend ETF. But all right, folks, that are the 3 dividend ETFs that I love trading, because even if I get assigned the shares, then I know that it will pay me out a monthly dividend. But let me know down in the comments if you have used any of these ETFs. They are a complete game changer. And again, if you're looking for a cool community to join, the link to Trader Freedom is down in the description below. But I'm going to get back to my vacation. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.